When you think of the word NASA, you obviously directly correlate it to space, but they're also very known for being secretive about what they discover, often delaying their public reveals of things and shrouding them with vague descriptions. Well, today, we are going to dig into the National Aeronautics and Space Administration and see what exactly they're trying to keep the everyday person like you and me from actually knowing. What's up, guys? Jimmy here, and today we are going to be counting down our picks for the top 10 things that NASA is hiding from you and me. So get ready, get paranoid, turn on those notifications, check that little bell, click that box so you never miss an upload. There's a brand new top 10 over here every day, and you guys can submit below. There's a link where you can submit your suggestions for future top 10s that you want up on the channel. Who knows? It could end up being a video, but now it's time to find out what NASA is actually hiding. At number 10, you would think with such a life-threatening job as being an astronaut, you would at least get some decent benefits, right? Unfortunately, you would be wrong. While the exact details of the contracts that astronauts sign are pretty murky, they don't really let us know. Given NASA's secretive nature as a company, the details that have been revealed are pretty upsetting. The astronauts on the Apollo 11 voyage to the moon reportedly didn't have any insurance covering them or their families. And in 2003, when the Challenger exploded mid-flight, the families of the deceased astronauts only received the standard life insurance payout and nothing out of the ordinary from NASA. Now, you send your loved ones off to space, you would think that NASA would take care of them. At number 9, did you know that President Nixon actually had a pre-written speech for the event that the astronauts on the Apollo 11 got stranded on the moon? They actually had a speech written if this were to happen. That definitely doesn't sound like they were extremely confident in their abilities to get the crew back safely home. This, of course, has led to tons of conspiracies that NASA had some kind of grand plan to strand the crew on the moon once they landed, which obviously didn't happen. They made it back home. But it is a little strange that President Nixon at the time had a pre-written speech for such a specific negative outcome. This next one at number 8 is pretty embarrassing if you ask me, so it's understandable that NASA would want to keep it on the down low, but did you know that NASA accidentally recorded over the original moon landing tapes? Back when video was still recorded on tapes, it was common practice for people to simply record over old footage that they didn't need anymore. Well, in 2006, conspiracy theories were all over the place after NASA said they couldn't find the original tapes of the moon landing. It just misplaced them. Soon after, it was revealed that they had simply taped over them. I guess they didn't think landing on the freaking moon was important enough not to tape over or to put those tapes up where they weren't going to be damaged or recorded over. I mean, who does that? Okay, at number 7, Carl Wolf was a photograph repairman back during the days when photos needed repairing, who worked for the U.S. Army when one day he was tasked to inspect some pictures of the moon. According to Wolf, the pictures he saw actually had structures in what seemed to be a base located on the moon's backside, which NASA had supposedly discovered. After this information became public, however, these structures were no longer visible in the pictures of the moon. So, you tell me, if they actually hired him to repair photos from the moon, what exactly would they be repairing? And if he was to repair, and he did he take out and edit out something that was on the moon that they did not want the public to see? One of the most adventurous jobs in the world, of course, would be being an astronaut, but the process is actually super discouraging for aspiring space explorers. The training is extremely intense, and even after you've met all the qualifications, the chances of being selected for the job is only 0.8%. In fact, only 257 astronauts have ever been hired by NASA since the organization was founded all the way back in 1958. You wouldn't really expect the job competition for an astronaut to be so extreme, would you? But they take painstakingly just long and hard looks at who they are actually going to send up into space. So that would actually equivalent out to about 3 astronauts a year, somewhere in there, that actually get hired. So you have a better chance of becoming an NBA or an NFL All-Star than you actually do of being an astronaut and being sent up into space. Now let's crack into the top 5. In 1947, a strange machine crash-landed in Roswell, New Mexico. Most everybody has heard about Roswell, New Mexico. It was almost immediately identified by the locals as a UFO or something definitely not of this planet. However, after NASA went and investigated the site, the story quickly changed to a weather balloon crash. Even to this day, NASA stands by the statement that the device was a weather balloon, yet are very protective of the images captured at the site. If it was a weather balloon, why not just let people see it? Many locals believe that it was to prevent mass panic among citizens and also, you ready? To keep alien technology from falling into the hands of the Russians. There was no Vladimir Putin back then, but he definitely probably would have liked to get his hands on some alien technology. At number 4, it's actually expected of astronauts to go insane during expeditions. That's right. They fully expect them to lose their crap while they are up in space. Space is a big, big, lonely, dark, cold place. In fact, every crew is equipped with a to-do list if a crew member should lose their minds. A direct quote from one of the Voyage's to-do list is, are you ready? Bind his wrists and ankles with duct tape, tie him down with a bungee cord, and inject him with tranquilizers if necessary. Jeez, it's starting to sound like NASA doesn't really have any faith in the workers that they send up there, and it just kind of reminds me of the movie Life that I just watched. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to give you a spoiler alert, but the ending sucked. And it'll make you never want to be an astronaut or go try to find life on Mars, I promise you. But just imagine you lose your mind, or somebody thinks you lose your mind, and your crewmates decide to bind you, duct tape you, and inject you with tons of tranks. At number 3, did you know that there is a radio show called Coast to Coast that airs every night and informs listeners of recent UFO and alien sightings? This radio show is still going right now. If I can find a way, I'll put a link in the description where you could actually check it out. This would probably sound like a bunch of nonsense if NASA and the US government weren't constantly trying to shut this show down. That's not suspicious at all, right? Just your random, who cares? If somebody wants to believe in UFOs and aliens and they want to broadcast it out to other people that believe that as well, but apparently, NASA and the US government don't like it. So they've been trying to shut it down. Why would they be? What are they worried about? Okay, at number 2, international behavior during the World War II conflict was all over the place. But did you guys know that NASA actually secretly harbored Nazi scientists after the war? The initiative, Operation Paperclip, was put into action in 1945 after the war ended and was intended to simply keep the Nazi scientists from going to work for the Soviet Union. And over 1,600 Nazi scientists and their families were brought to America to work for and on U.S. military technology. Needless to say, this was extremely controversial when it went public, and NASA got quite a bit of heat for the hypocrisy of the fact that the Nazis in Germany were considered war criminals after the end of the World War II, but these Nazi scientists got to come to America without any consequence at all. Okay, we've reached that number 1 spot. This one's out there, okay? But that's what makes it fun and makes it the number 1 on the list. So, have you ever wondered what it would be like to have sex in space? Well, apparently, a NASA intern wanted to do it, and he did the closest thing anyone has ever done to getting it on in space. In 2002, an intern named Thad Roberts stole over 600 pounds of moon rocks from the Johnson Space Center after breaking in after hours. What did he do with these moon rocks? Did he sell them? Did he do experiments on them? Nope. He just got his girlfriend, and they had sex on top of the moon rocks. Well, then he tried to sell them after that, with the black market listing them at just over $21 million. Roberts was eventually caught and the moon rocks were returned, but they were deemed unusable by NASA as they had been contaminated and unfit for research. Roberts was then sentenced to 8 years in prison for stealing and damaging government property, having sex on moon rocks. And there you have it, my friends. Those are 10 things that NASA could be hiding from you. If you're into conspiracy theories and you like all this stuff, Let me know what your favorite one is down in the comment section. As always, there is a playlist below with all the other top 10s that go up. There's a brand new one every night, so don't miss any of them. Turn on your notifications. And that's it. I'll see you tomorrow night for a new video.